Well, in February of 2006, we were in Bodega Bay on A dock, and we were starting to run all new standing rigging. And after half a day aloft, Ann decided that it was her turn to go aloft, and she didn't want to hear any arguments about it. And so basically we pulled her to the top of the main mast, and while up there trying to run a new main halyard, a cleat failed on the deck. Then she fell a little more than 45 feet to the deck. She landed on her back and shoulders, breaking her back in 3 places, her pelvis in 3 places. 9 ribs, 2 shoulder blades, all the fingers on one hand, punctured a lung, caved her head in.
I wanted to go to sea so bad, and I wanted to have somebody to go to sea with me, not just by myself or getting on a cruise ship, but actually accomplishing something and doing something.
We had about $250,000 in 401s and 457 type programs that we've been saving over the years, which was going to be our long-term cruising budget. So we cashed that out, and between the penalties and the taxes and the doctors covering the co-pays and the things that insurance didn't cover, pretty well took everything that we had. Well, while Ann was doing physical therapy, I kept having a sore throat. And as I was touching my throat, my tonsil was very inflamed and hard. So at one point I went up to my doctor and said, "Hey doc, stick your finger down my throat and check my tonsil out, They explained right off the bat that throat cancer is a very aggressive kind of cancer. They fight it very aggressively. It's going to kick your butt. And Dr. Zhang said, I want to put a feeding tube into you. And I said, well, I'm a tough guy. I don't need a feeding tube. So he said, well, tell me about yourself. So I told him, I'm an ex-Marine. I worked in the prison all these years. Basically, I just stuffed the crap down my throat. And he said, you'll die. Just that simple. And smiled at me. And so I said, hey, let's talk about that feeding tube thing. So. We're shaping up to try to run the Pacific Cup, which is a race from the San Francisco Yacht Club to Kaneohe Bay Yacht Club in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, on Oahu.
I have had many doubts if we could do it, especially when I was sitting in a wheelchair or laying there trying to figure out what day of the week it was, or if I could even sit up someday.
I put a lot of hours in this boat. No, yeah, I love this boat. I mean, I love it to pieces, but I hate it. Now, we're looking at 7 years later, and the boat's basically restored, and it's in the same condition it was last time it started around the world. So, yeah, the fact that it already knows the way is kind of a neat thing. Well, for the first 3 days, it'll be just like sailing in San Francisco Bay. It'll be a little lumpier. You'll start taking your fallies off. By the 4th day, you'll be into shorts. And after that, it'll be tropical weather and a broad reach, hopefully, most of the way.
And you literally can look around, and there is nothing around you but open ocean. There's no light pollution at night. It becomes something so much different and so much on yourself, and not quite a spiritual experience, though many people think it is. For me, it's more of I have done it, I can do it, and I can accomplish something.
Well, now we're kind of on the eve of doing this. You know, it looks like we're actually going to get a chance to do it. We've kind of beat the injury, curve. We beat the illness curve. We're still kind of worried about the money curve, but it'll work out, or it won't. It's time for me to go, exploring a little bit and discover the world, Take my friends and go to Hawaii.